someone whose term is up this spring?
We should.
Is it me? No, I replaced someone and then got re-voted in the next year.
Good evening, Litchfield. Tonight is Tuesday, February 13th, and this is the Recreation Commission's meeting. I will call the meeting to order, and we'll call the roll. My name is Peter Ames. I'm the chair of the commission. Judy Brennan, secretary.
Present.
Chris Burns, member.
Here.
Steve Weber.
Present.
And absent tonight with notice is Mike Bosky, Andy Ruggles, and Jeff Town. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Raz. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first order of business is we have two sets of minutes to review and approve from January 9th, 24 and January 23rd, 24. Members had an opportunity to review the minutes.
Yes, I have.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve January 9th and January 23rd meeting minutes.
Motion, is there a second?
I will second.
We have motion and a second. Is there discussion or any changes proposed?
Do we want to separate those? Because Judy, you
I
weren't
have
at
to
one, right?
abstain from the January 9th.
Okay, so we'll make a motion to approve January 9th.
Second.
I will second.
All right. Motion is just on the January 9th minutes. Is there discussion or suggested edits?
I did not see any.
I'm good.
All right, seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain,
Abstain.
measure carries 3-0-1.
I'll make a motion to approve January 23rd minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion or edits?
I think I missed this one.
All right. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, abstain,
Aye.
motion carries 3-0-1. Next, we will open the meeting for public input. There are no members of the public in attendance at the moment, so we will close public input. Next, we will move to facility and field requests. We have 3 from the Spirit of Litchfield to review this evening.
They were putting in theirs for the full year, all at one time, to make it easier and to go through all the processes they have to go through if they're using the same vendors or whatever, so. The one for, they did in the email requests 4th of July for a car show, but the field and facility request form was not with the other 3, so I'm thinking it possibly went in with their request for a parade. Janice was going to search into that to see what happened. I said we could put it on the next agenda if it didn't show up before our meeting, which I haven't received it, so.
All right, so we will wait till
Yeah.
we receive that for the next one. All right. Members like to take them one at a time here. Start with the earliest one. So looking for an Easter egg hunt coming up next month on March 30th from 10 to noon at Dara.
They've done this for several years now.
I'll make a motion to approve that event for the 30th, 10 to noon.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, motion carries 4-0-0. Next we'll move to the Fall Fest, which they are looking at Saturday, October 5th from 3 to 6 at Dara.
That'll be the hours of the event. There will be some, I'm sure, setup time before and after as always. And they didn't, that one I don't think it said Talent Hall, but they might want access to Talent Hall since they store stuff in there, but
Yep.
they have a code and everything to get in. But usually in the fall, their vendors are outside.
I would think we'd want to block off the majority of that day. And then from a softball standpoint, make sure nothing gets scheduled on that day.
Right.
give them time to
Are you
set up.
usually done October? Oh, you have fall ball.
We have fall ball, so we just
Okay.
gotta make sure that day that we clear the schedule for it, but, I
The
mean,
games are typically in the morning.
yeah.
Okay.
But I still think we give them a couple hours to set up, so make it maybe like 12 to
12.
8 at night,
12 to 8.
just so we can block the calendar off and nobody else schedules anything.
So, and they know all the procedures they have to go through with that because they've been through it before. Their insurance is under us.
Yeah, and I think last year they wanted to get in on Friday evening to store stuff and start planning
Into talent?
into talent, yeah.
Yeah.
I think they brought stuff in the night before.
And they store stuff upstairs.
Well, they have stuff upstairs, then they put stuff inside the entryway,
Yeah.
and they pulled it out the next morning when they got there to set up.
Okay, so it could potentially impact talent that night.
Thinking, yeah. But in October, I don't think we have a whole lot going on in town
No,
on
basketball
Friday night.
hasn't started yet.
No.
And in the past, they've been able to pull out stuff or do what they needed to, if even with pickleball in there. So we probably just want to make sure we're not scheduling a special event.
Yeah.
Maybe the night
Maybe just
before.
block Friday night for them after 5 or something, and Saturday.
All right, so what I'm hearing is we're gonna modify the request to include, Friday, the 4th in the evening, say 6 to,
Whenever, yeah. Just make sure we don't pickleballs out and stuff like that, if they're in there. I mean, hopefully in October, it's still nice enough that they're outside.
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Say 6 to 10 Friday night, and then expanding to 12 to 8 on the 5th, and include talent.
Yeah, I think that'll just accommodate them a whole lot more.
Yeah.
All right.
Was that the motion?
I think we need a motion still.
And there hasn't been a motion.
Can you read it?
Yep, so the request would
You
be,
changed it.
for Darfields and Talent on Friday, October 4th from 6 to 10, and Saturday, October 5th from 12 to 8.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries 4-0-0. And last one before us this evening is for the Christmas in Litchfield event on December 14th, from 4 in the afternoon till 7 in the evening.
Is this another one we should give them more time for setup?
Yeah, and I put in notes, setup time will be needed in talent because the vendors come in early to
Come in early.
set up.
we
So
were
I
down-
think they arrive like an hour early or so around 3, so maybe we clear talent from 2.
Oh, I know, I was down
They might-
there.
Actually, they work all
I was down
day
there
that
early in the
day.
morning because
Yeah.
they wanted to decorate the concession stand
Yeah.
for softball, so we went down, did that. They opened up talent, they did more decorations.
Do we just want to clear it that day?
I say clear the whole day again for them.
Yeah.
Because they
8
really did
a.m.
get down
to-
there early.
And what about Friday night?
I think they were down there Friday night, starting to set things up inside.
So Friday
Or
would
store.
be the 13th. From what time do you think? 6 on, 5
Yeah,
on?
we'll just 6 on again.
6 p.m. on. And Saturday would be the whole day for
I'd say
setup.
give them the whole day.
There's nothing gonna be going on in the fields anyway.
Anyways, but give them like 9 to 9 or something.
But, so it is talent, right? And there
It's
will, there
talent
will be
and-
conflicts.
Yeah, both of
down.
them.
It's both,
Yep,
yeah.
the vendors are in talent.
But won't there be conflicts in talent? There were this year, potentially.
Pickleball will probably be in there, and, I mean, if it's
Potentially-
Saturday, basketball will probably be in there too.
Basketball, yeah, basketball.
So what
would
did we
be.
do this year? They must
They
have-
cleared the day, I believe.
They cleared the day.
No,
Let them- we can let them know ahead of time, we'll know when they put in their request. that
Yeah.
That day is the town event.
This past year, both of them ran. They kind of flexed their time around.
Did
but
they?
were-
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So they did want to get in there on 2.
Well, the
this past year.
vendors don't go in until usually 2:30 or 3.
No, they worked great together. Yeah, it's
Okay,
not really
so
until
they
the
can
vendors
work
come
together.
that it would be a problem. But
At
I
least
think-
this year, anyway. I think basketball's been done in there by 2. But
Okay.
didn't we have a discussion about a year ago about booking events this far out in advance?
I
Maybe
think-
it was more the leagues, right?
Yeah, I think for them, they wanted to secure the dates and they have to get all the vendor permits and
All that.
so if they have some of the same ones in the fall as they do at Christmas, it can be handled all at once instead of being repetitive.
Sure.
And I'm good with it because they're a subcommittee of us.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
not
So
like
it's
it's
a
a
rec
rec,
sponsored event.
rec league coming in, since they're part of recreation. I think we give them the leeway of giving them their dates first. And plus, they're great community events.
Sure.
Yeah, they're the most popular
Yeah.
events in town, I think.
All right, so we're gonna modify their request to include talent on Friday the 13th from 6 to 10, and Friday the 14th from, say, 2 to 10. Is there a motion?
So moved. Exactly what you said.
Here we go.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
I'll second.
I already did.
Motion
Oh,
and a
I
second.
thought you
Third.
just said, is there a second? Oh.
Bill third.
I was writing this down. I third it.
All right, seeing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the motion carries 4-0-0.
Can you just tell me what it is with the amended time so I can let Janice know?
Yep, it'd
for
be
that
Friday the
Friday?
13th
Yeah,
from 6 to 10.
is that talent?
That includes talent.
Okay,
And Saturday the 14th from 2 to 10, including talent.
But they pretty much can have Dara all day. The fields,
Yeah.
I mean,
That should be.
nothing should be going on out there.
okay.
All right. I don't believe we received any other facility or field requests.
No, I didn't see anything.
Chris, we need to make sure that we put one in for the comedy show prior to the next meeting. Because I think if we wait for another meeting, we're gonna get too far out.
Yep.
Can you do it now?
Right now?
We know
You
it's
know
the
what you need to
twenty-third.
do?
Yeah, we know
Can
it's
be
the
filled out
twenty-third, right?
online. Just because the next meeting's vacation week, and if we don't have a quorum,
Yeah,
Yeah, I can fill it out.
can we cover it during other? They pull that
Yeah,
out.
so at any point in the
Okay.
meeting, we can go back to it.
Is that okay? Is that? am I
Yeah, that
putting
gives
too
us
much
time to
pressure
pull it
on
up.
you guys?
and I think historically we wanted to get in there usually around 3, was it, Chris? 2 or 3?
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe we'll do 2 to
Yeah.
2 to 11 on the 23rd.
Is that a comedy night?
Yeah, it's for Litchfield baseball and Litchfield girls softball.
Okay.
Yearly comedy night, March
Yeah, so if we
23rd.
can do that tonight, just in case we don't have
Yeah,
that.
I'll fill it out right now.
Okay, so we can we move on?
You gotta fill it out
He's
on the
good at
fly.
You can fill it out,
multitasking.
yeah. I'll
All
go
right,
back.
thanks, Chris.
Triple tasking.
All right, we'll move on then to old business. Quick recap from the deliberative session back on, was that the 3rd? So I attended and spoke on the warrant article establishing a expendable trust fund for us to access. Spoke for just a couple minutes. There were no questions
That
from
was
the
well.
audience
Went
or
well.
comments, so
Thank you for doing that. Did a great
Pleasure.
job.
Yes,
Yeah.
you spoke well.
great, thank you. So there's a voter guide being published for residents as well, and there's a brief section in there that I'll direct residents to. But we'd be happy to take any questions, of course, leading up to voting day on, what's that, the 12th of March, correct?
12th of March, yeah. Voter guide should go out in the next couple weeks.
Perfect. All right. So on that, there's no further action other than to encourage folks to support it as it comes forward. Next, we'll move to the portable bathroom.
So this has changed multiple times just in the last
Yeah.
couple days. But Chief Nichols and Jeff Buckle sent me an email today with what they're going to use. I believe I sent a screenshot of it to you guys. And it's kind of what, like, national portable potty guidelines ratios based on how many people are there for so many hours. It seems pretty straightforward. That's what they're presenting for the town piece. And then we can also adopt that if we want to be aligned with the town. Very similar. I looked at things we've done, and we fell within those standards anyway.
Sure.
And they reinforced that we have always had enough. So my thought would be, once the town accepts it, that there's no reason why we shouldn't use those same guidelines, and
What's the reason?
would just have to, if it requires additional portables and it's not a rec-sponsored event, we will have to charge those groups.
My only question back to them would be, if we utilize the bathrooms within talent,
They count.
does each stall count as one portable,
Yeah.
right? So,
So
most of these then we're way over the amount we have, because if you think we have a softball tournament, we usually
Yeah,
bring in
and-
2, plus we have the
Yeah.
handicap accessible one there,
And then the inside,
handicap accessible one there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we've opened up talent,
right,
so we've had more than enough.
more than enough. And the thing is we gotta remember with the tournaments, teams come and go.
Correct.
So there may be 400 or 500 participating in a tournament, but they're not there 9 to 3. So we will have to say, okay, let's say the tournament games run 90 minutes, so they're there a half hour before. Take an estimate of time, teams waiting to start, or
Yep.
into like maybe 2-hour blocks or 3-hour blocks to figure that out. We won't have to get, if we say 500 people in 6 hours, it looks like something crazy we have to get, but we're really taking an estimate in the game times, because people, they come and go throughout the day.
Yeah, but if you look at it, we have 3 in the ladies' room, or is it 2 or 3 in the ladies'
2
room?
in the ladies' room,
2 in the ladies' room, 2 urinals, and a toilet in the men's
men's
room.
room.
So that's 5 right
Then
there.
your handicap
Then we usually
access
bring
outside.
in one, there's always one down there.
Yep.
That's 6. The last softball, we brought in 2, that's 8. So if you look at this, 8 would accommodate 500 people for 7 hours.
Right.
So we're
We're well in.
well
I
within
think
the
what
limits.
happens with us is like, if they're not rec league teams, or they're for profit, or they're out of town, we know that Litchfield softball is going to take care of the floors if those bathrooms are
Yep.
open. They're not gonna have metal cleats or whatever. I'm hesitant to open it up for groups outside of Litchfield, and so that's where we'll
Correct.
have to make
Yeah.
sure that those bathrooms there, including LMS, using our field for playoff games, like parking is on the streets, and are we gonna cover, we'll have to discuss whether we cover the school portions, but when
And that's the other
Blast used
question.
to use their UCHS softball field for tournaments, because we didn't have enough fields at Dara, we were required to bring in our own portable bathroom for the weekend. They wouldn't open, even though they have the outside ones, they wouldn't open for us.
We
so
also need
had
to look at
pay
LMS
ourselves.
soccer, because usually there's only that one portable out there. They have
Yeah.
2 teams, spectators, they've done
That's
playoffs.
what I'm saying, playoffs is not even enough parking, so, I did, when I emailed that, I just listed some things that we'll have to think about when that comes forward. Are we gonna start covering the school requirements? I know that CHS would not cover porta potty.
And I don't think
We
we
have to
wanna
look
get
at
into
out-
part of
I'm
the
talking
fee
coaches.
structure, have taken care of the portables. Because, we're a group of volunteers, right? Imagine putting it upon ourselves trying to get those cleaned every single day if something's going on. I
Right.
think you almost have to push it back on
It has to be on the groups using
group
it.
that's coming in, 'cause
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that we
And
wanna bring in.
Kim did recommend that once we had that kind of schedule and everything go on the application.
Yep.
So that they know, you're gonna be required, based on your numbers, you're gonna be required to bring in this many portables.
And I think this year, Chris, I thought I saw you working with the Fusion, that they're gonna try to use the same supplier that we do on portables, so it can make cleaning, cause last year we ran into the issue, they wanted to clean the town one, but they couldn't get access to the vendor that we had to get it cleaned.
Gotcha.
So I think they want to, unify this year and say, all right, we use the same supplier across the board, you guys use this one, we'll do it, so we can make sure that it all gets cleaned when
Makes
they're
sense.
here for the showcase.
Well, thankfully, we had there too for the car show.
We have the 2 for the car
Because
show, and then we
Though
paid the
ours
price, we being
was overflowed,
softball.
I had to tape it off.
Yep, because that one didn't get cleaned in time, so portables are an issue every
When
year.
there's soccer camps or whatever going on, well, it's just something we're gonna have to think about that we haven't had to in the past.
Yeah, and I agree, putting it on the form makes good sense, that's
Yeah.
just the expectation up front. All right, so we'll come back to that when the town adopts that
Yep.
policy and sanction that. And change it to change the forms as well. So next, and this relates to the forms as well, is our fee policy. So thank you for Judy for doing some additional work on this. In order to have our new policy kind of more officially sanctioned, we need to go through a bit of a process to have it reviewed by the Board of Selectmen and a public hearing. When we did draft and finalize the policy, we of course brought it here a number of times before making it final. But we do have to go through a process of posting a public hearing, announcing it, and bring it to the select board as well for approval, so it can just be fully vetted, and then once approved, the town kind of has a green light to invoice and just do the process to make it happen. So so.
Now, Judy, speaking with Kim Kleiner, do we have to do an introductory at the Board of Selectmen once and then the public hearing? Or can we just open a public hearing because we've already done introduction to it at the recreation?
Yeah, Peter and I were talking about that. We weren't sure, and I think
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen should be aware of it, whether they're required to or not. I would like to speak
we'll
with
be-
them
I
before
think
the
we should just
public
put it on
hearing.
the docket next time for a discussion.
Yep,
And then let Ms. Kleiner know that we want to put it on the following meeting as a public hearing for the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, okay.
So
Yeah,
maybe if you're
because-
free, Peter, at the next, present it.
or if you're not, I can go for you. And I know there was talk, Mike had brought up, we need to talk about, are we gonna rent out pickleball courts or whatever, and I think that's something we can maybe amend if we decide to, but we already have teams coming in, and we told them we know there will be a charge, it's not
Yep.
verified what it is going to be yet, but they're gonna be wanting to start in April, I think it is.
Yep, so if we get this
At
next couple
baseball
meetings.
field and using, so I think we do need to get moving with that, and then if we decide there's other things that groups can rent, we can
You can just
add
amend
them.
yeah.
All right, so I'll reach out to Kim and get on the next agenda for,
Yeah, I present it, but I'm gonna be away, so.
okay, yeah, that's the 26th, I assume?
And then once, that's been passed in the fees and everything, when I met with Kim, she will help get us set up with the process over at Town Hall, so we won't be handling fees, there'll be people there who will, bill, collect, get it into the right fund, that whole piece, we won't have to. And then the other thing we're working on alongside that is a way to easily have our COIs at Town Hall where they can easily access them, whether I email them to Heather or Donna and they keep them with theirs, in field and facility requests. So that's just something kind of ongoing. We'll figure out that whole process.
It would be
as we
great
go
if we could
along.
have a Google Drive, another one added that all of us could just drop them into.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, because if something goes wrong, they're contacted.
Yeah.
That way they know, they can check insurance, policy, they're the ones who are gonna have to like respond to things. But also, she'd mentioned that I didn't think about it, if there's ever a townwide emergency, at least to know whoever submits for soccer and a phone number, like contact to get quick information out,
Yeah,
you know?
That's good.
So that's something that we'll be working on also,
very good,
trying to make that as easy as possible.
excellent. All right, still on old business, one thing I didn't put on there, but you'll all be very happy to hear about is we now have nameplates. So thank you to Donna. So I forgot to grab them beforehand, but Steve, could I ask you to maybe
We
grab
do.
the nameplates? We do.
We have name cards?
I know
Oh,
today,
nice.
yeah.
Oh, man,
Look at this.
wow.
We have Mr. Struggles. We got Peter right up front for
There we
you.
go.
Judy.
Motor mouth.
Look at that.
Wow, we're just like
The
everybody
name
else
that
now.
Mr. Gannon can never pronounce.
Oh, yeah.
Boshi, Boshi,
They should all be
There you
phonetically
are.
spelled, right?
it's like Christmas,
Look at that.
really Christmas presents.
Feel like a somebody now, huh?
Yeah, I do. I always wondered why we were the only group without them.
Now we're not. So thank you to Donna for that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, new business. Are there items for new business members have?
I don't think there was any.
Request just came through.
You have the request?
Wonder who that's from.
Well, let's do that then. All right, so for field and facility requests, we have a request from Litchfield Girls Softball League for a comedy night event on March 23rd.
And that would
Talent
be in
from-
conjunction with Litchfield Baseball Association also.
Okay.
It does state that in there.
All right, thank you. Yep, Saturday the 23rd from 2 until 11 in Talent. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve LGSL and Litchfield Baseball.
LBA.
LBA.
Both do have the COI on file.
Mm-hmm, yep.
We will have a detail officer there because it will be BYOB, BYOF as always.
So
Yes,
I'll make a motion to
all right, motion, I'll second. Is there discussion?
I'll work on
But
getting
you
you
always
detail.
pick a night when I'm away.
You're away? Is that when you're going out way down
We're going
south
to
again?
Tampa, because I'm going
Spring
to our
training.
spring training game.
You were away last year too.
Yes, pick the same time.
Really wanna go see the Red Sox?
And it was funny because last year it was a week sooner, I think.
Was it?
Yeah, it was right after St. Patrick's Day or right
Oh,
before
yeah, we might have
something.
been, yeah.
I think you have to rearrange your trip.
Yeah.
Well, the reason Jay booked it is because it's the first day Southwest flies direct again to Tampa with no layovers. So
Nice.
months ago when they put the first flight out, he's like, I booked it. I don't know where we're staying or whatever, but we're booked for a direct flight. I'm like,
That's all that matters.
okay,
It's direct.
spring training. I'll be
I think from now on, before you book a trip, you should check with Steve and I.
okay.
Yes. You gotta clear your calendar with us.
Okay.
You too, Jay.
I'll make a donation. I'll buy tickets, even though we
You
can't
did
go, but
last
then
year,
you can
too.
sell our tickets.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion carries 4-0-0. All right, moving on then to other business, update on the ice fishing derby, not looking promising.
It was
That's it.
canceled.
Canceled
It's
outright.
officially canceled last
Last
night.
year.
Ice is getting too thin and it's gonna warm up. But George Lavish did a lot of work on that and got the permits and everything, so thank you to him. I feel bad.
I know.
I think it was, but we can't control the weather.
Yep.
So,
Moving though then to the spring fishing tournaments, I think we have the official number requested to buy the fish of $425 from Rick, so we just want to get a vote to approve that this evening so they can move ahead.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the 400, was it 25?
Yep.
$425.
We have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Opposed, abstain, motion carries 4-0-0.
will have to address porta potties. We usually supply a porta potty at
Yeah.
Parker Park for that.
Yep.
Except for last year, it never got delivered, but
For some reason.
that's like under 50 kids, right? It's a situation where I think one
Yeah.
is good.
It's more just having one there.
Yes, yeah. There's a big difference between 0 and 1.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And since they are smaller
woods
children,
doesn't
I think
count
we
as
should go
one.
with handicap accessible just for more room if parents
Yeah.
go in with the kids.
Yeah.
It's no fun being a parent, couple of kids in one of the small
A little
ones.
tight, a little tight.
There's a couple things that are not. I didn't know them at the time when I started doing the agenda, but that did come about in the last day or so. And you can help me with this one, Steve. George Lavish did the milfoil update with the Board of Selectmen
Yes.
last night, and everybody seemed like happy that something was going to move forward. And let me know if I'm wrong, but they just needed to check if they could take money out of the land fund to do the water treatment.
Correct.
So is that because that's water and not land, or is it because the land fund is for land purchase?
It's whenever you expend from that, we may need to have a public hearing.
Right, and they have that set up.
Correct.
Public hearing, they're going to reach out to all the abutters. The milfoil on the butters property will
Yep.
be taken care of, and it will only require like 24-hour or 48 hours.
You have to stay out for 24 hours, and they'll do sections of the pond, because they won't do the whole thing at once, because fish need a place to go and move to. So they'll do it section by section.
And they have the company to do it.
Yep.
One local company, another didn't get back to them, yep.
Company out of Rochester.
Another one said that it's not a big enough project or problem, and so they wouldn't adjust it, and something about it is not
It's a native milfoil, not
ours is-
Not invasive.
not an aggressive or
Not
invasive.
not
invasive,
invasive,
yeah.
so it could respond very, very well to one treatment and need one or two more at a smaller level. So
Level, yeah.
George really did a lot of work, and he seems to know what he's
Did a great job.
talking about, like his underwater pictures and mapping. is
And then we
pretty
mapped the whole
impressive.
entire pond. It was really cool.
So maybe when they do have their public hearing or the abutters meeting, we should have a rep.
So Selectmen gave approval for the money. It's just pending now, do we need to have a hearing or not? So,
And I think they would add it to their existing,
they have a public hearing a week from Thursday, I
right, and
believe?
there are a few things on it.
On it, yeah, so-
Two grant acceptances, purchase of
Yep.
land, and they would just add that to the existing one if they needed to,
So Ms. Klein
that's
is off
really moved
figuring out if they need it or not, so.
forward.
Hopefully we'll get treated this spring. They were shooting for what, April, I think, to do it? Judy? I think it was April they said there was the target date?
I think so. It was like
That's quick.
soon,
It was, yeah, really soon.
fairly soon. Yep.
So is this something we should come back to, when we look at next year's budget, because for ongoing maintenance?
Yeah, so what's gonna
Right.
happen is after they do this treatment, they'll be able to give us a better budget of, do we need one next year? What's it gonna look like moving forward?
Yep.
It all comes down to how does the first treatment adhere to the
Gotcha.
pond? And it's gonna be something we're gonna struggle with always, cause it's native.
And it doesn't go out far from shore, they said,
Right.
so.
Yeah, it stays really close to shore. Probably something to do with sunlight getting down there, right? To help grow it.
Warmth,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because if it's spring fed, right, it's pretty cold in the middle.
But that brings us one step closer to being able to really use that property and do more with it.
And with that well being decommissioned, the water level should come back up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so hopefully we can get it back to a point we can do something with it.
Be great.
Yeah, I'd
So-
love to see it to be a beach again with the roped off area and swimming lessons and families to go down there and recreate for the day.
Absolutely. Well, we should think about that when we think about future projects, as far as like redoing the beach area, dredge it out a little bit, fresh sand or something
I
like that.
think when we wrote in our CIP, we kept it broad with that whole
Yeah.
Dara Pond, that whole park area, because there's so much we could expand on or do depending on if we got rid of the milfoil and everything, so I think it'll all tie in.
Because if you can make that swimming area with the playground there, the pavilion,
Yeah.
it'd be a great spot just to go and spend the day.
Yep. Our tractor does a really good job when we rake,
Yeah, use the
breaking
York
down
rake
the
in the back.
sand and, yeah, there's a lot of people down there. Every time I go to softball pitching, there's people in the playground still, there's people down at the water. I mean, it gets used a lot more even in the winter than you would think.
I heard in the days of old, when it was frozen, they would bring the sand out and put it on top of the ice. And when the ice melted, all the sand would fall to the bottom. And that's how they made the sand go out further from the beach area.
One of my son's classes in high school used to go out there and they would drill and do testing
Oh, wow.
of the water. It was like one of those college year, one of those AP classes, and they did a lot of work with talent. Not talent, but Dara. And
Hey,
there's
but
just, Jeff Blackwell called me today, Healthy Kids Running, when they had put in the request, had asked about signage,
Yes.
registration, and we said you gotta go through the town, cause we don't manage any of that. And so Jeff called to say that that was approved, he let Amanda know, and she knows she can put the signs up and that she needs to remove them after registration. So he just wanted us to know that that was approved and she knows and they're good.
And those were like the political signs they just wanted to put out in the right of way.
Registration, yeah.
To register.
Very good.
So that was approved.
All right, any other additional items, Judy, that's not on the agenda?
No.
I have something.
Okay.
Go for it.
I believe, I haven't been down to check, but I believe they actually installed the footings for the pavilion at the pickleball court. already.
Wow.
Yeah,
Somebody drove on the snow and grass behind.
yeah, I think it was
And
done.
so Jay and I walked up there and we saw the markings and Jay was like, oh, they've started
Yeah.
groundwork.
So
It's
that's underway.
exciting, all right.
Yeah,
Great, yeah.
Underway. It'll hopefully be done this spring.
that's awesome. We can bring that project to a close.
And we were at Talent yesterday, Judy. We got positive feedback from some pickleball participants on how they like the new courses, new courts
Somebody was out there this week. People have bought their own
Is
nets.
it really?
This
Yeah,
week,
because
oh
a
my
couple of the
goodness.
sun was shining on a couple of the courts and they're
Yeah,
out there using it. At least they get used.
because that woman seemed very happy yesterday when
Yeah.
we walked in, so. It's good.
Yep.
All right, any other additional other items from folks? I'm looking at emails, so Mike has this month, Andy next month. Let's talk about our next meeting date, February 27th. So, thinking about quorum, so we have two folks that won't be here, I am available,
I'm available.
all right.
I don't know.
Mike, Jeff, and Andy.
Andy may be skiing. I think he usually does, but I don't know. We'll have to check with Mike and his work schedule. And doesn't Jeff go away for chunks of time? I don't know. It
Not
seemed
sure.
like it for.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess before we decide on that, we should check with them.
And also
Yeah, I'm-
come down to how much we have in the docket, right?
there may not be that much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if we need a quorum to approve something, it would be my concern.
Yeah, just-
So so I'm inclined to keep it at this point, because our next meeting after that is town meeting, is the voting day,
Yes.
which also has, I'm sure you won't be here.
Correct.
for that. And what does your term end? As far
When
as-
we count all the ballots that evening.
Is that right? Okay,
That's when my 6 years will be over.
Wow.
my goodness.
Thank you.
I'm glad
Most
you'll still
welcome.
be with
It's been my
us.
pleasure. And that is my intent, to be part of the rec.
I
after
don't think
that,
it was
so.
all a pleasure.
Always my pleasure to serve you guys,
There we go, excellent.
no matter how tough it was at times.
Well,
It was
so
always a pleasure. It was a great learning experience.
this is your last meeting then, in that slot as the select board rep?
Yeah, 'cause I'll be away next one. So.
Well, thank you for your service indeed.
It's been my
Yes.
pleasure being here with you.
You've been a big asset to us.
Then
Oh,
on
I
this
feel like I
conservation
should-
and planning, this is
That's
my
it.
favorite one.
I should've brought cookies or something, I didn't know.
Well, we can celebrate when I come back on board, if you'll have me.
Certainly will. All right, so we'll keep that meeting for now, and we'll check with folks to see if anybody's around. And other than that, we have one final non-public session, so want to move to have, or look for a motion to move into non-public session under RSA 91-A, colon 3, double IC, under reputation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, so we'll move into non-public.
Do we have to vote? No? You just need to.
No, you're right, we did. Sorry, yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 400.